You're not our real dad, so stop acting like you have any right to tell us what to do. Emma's words hit like a physical blow, her brother Ethan nodding in fierce agreement beside her. I stood in the kitchen, still holding the confiscated phones I'd taken after discovering they'd been secretly streaming movies until 3 a.m. on school nights. After 5 years of being their stepdad, of loving these kids like my own, this was apparently where we stood. You're right, I said quietly, placing the phones on the counter. I'm not your biological father. Exactly. Ethan jumped in. So you can't punish us. Only Mom and Dad get to make rules. I looked at these teenagers I'd helped raise since they were 10. Helped with homework, coached soccer teams, nursed through sick days, celebrated victories, and consoled through defeats. 5 years of showing up every single day despite the challenges of blended family life. Okay, I said, stepping back. You've made your position clear. I'll respect that. Their triumphant expressions should have hurt more, but something else was taking shape in my mind, a lesson they desperately needed to learn. Laura came home from her hospital shift to find me in our home office, working late as usual. The kids said you tried to take their phones? She asked, exhaustion evident in her voice. They were up until 3 a.m. watching shows. But they've made it clear they only recognize parental authority from you and Michael. I kept my tone neutral, so I'm stepping back. What do you mean, stepping back? They don't want a stepdad trying to parent them. Fine, I'll stop. Laura sank into the chair. Tom, they're teenagers. They say things they don't mean. Maybe, but they need to understand what it means to reject help from someone who cares about them. I looked at my wife of 5 years. I'm not abandoning them. I'm just going to respect their wishes about biological parents only. This won't end well, Laura sighed. No, I agreed. But sometimes the hardest lessons are the most important ones. The next morning started the new normal. Instead of my usual routine of making breakfast and school lunches while Laura got ready for her early shift, I made coffee only for myself. Where are our lunches? Emma asked, wandering into the kitchen. I'm respecting your wishes about biological parents only, I replied, sipping my coffee. Your mom had an early shift, but I'm sure your dad can bring you lunch money when he picks you up for weekend visitation. The twins exchanged glances. But you always make our lunches. I did that as a parent figure. Since we've established that's not my role, you'll need to make other arrangements. They ended up making basic sandwiches, grumbling the whole time. When they finished, they stood expectantly by the door. Car's not warmed up, Ethan asked. I'm sure your mom can arrange a carpool with other parents, or your dad can adjust his schedule. I kept my voice pleasant. Since I'm not a real parent, I wouldn't want to overstep by driving you to school. But mom's already at work, and dad lives across town. That does sound challenging. Good luck working it out. They had to walk the mile to school in February weather. By dinner time, my phone was buzzing with texts from their father, Michael. What's this about not driving the kids anymore? I called him directly. Michael and I had developed a decent co-parenting relationship over the years, despite initial tensions. The twins have made it clear they only want parental authority and support from biological parents, I explained. I'm respecting their wishes. By not driving them to school, come on, Tom. Michael, they need to understand that parenting, step or biological, is a package deal. They can't just reject the authority while keeping the benefits. A long pause. They were up until 3 a.m. on school nights. Yes. And when you try to handle it, they pulled the "you're not our real dad" card. Exactly. He sighed. Let me guess. You're going to step back from homework help too. And sports practice, transportation, weekend activities, school events, all the things I've been doing as a parent figure. They're going to hate this. Probably. but they need to understand what they're really saying when they reject a parent's role in their life, even a step-parent. The first week was rough. Laura had to rearrange her hospital schedule to drive them to school. Michael had to hire a babysitter for his workdays, and the twins had to actually pack their own lunches and manage their own homework. I remained pleasant but distant. When Emma asked for help with her algebra, I reminded her that she preferred guidance from biological parents only. When Ethan needed a ride to soccer practice, I wished him luck finding alternative transportation. The breaking point came during midterm week. Both kids were struggling with their studies, unused to managing without my usual academic support. Laura was exhausted from juggling her medical career with increased parenting duties. Michael's babysitter quit because the twins were too demanding. I came home one evening to find Emma crying at the kitchen table over her physics homework. "I don't understand any of this," she sobbed. "Mom's at work, Dad doesn't know physics, and, I prompted gently. "And you're the only one who explains it in a way that makes sense." She looked up, tears streaming. "But we told you you're not our real dad." I sat down across from her. "You did, and that hurt, Emma. Not because you stated a biological fact, but because for 5 years, I've tried to be there for you and Ethan in every way that matters." "We were just mad about the phones," she whispered. "I know. But you need to understand something. Being a parent, step or biological, isn't just about rules and discipline. It's about showing up, every day, in all the small ways that help you grow and succeed." Ethan appeared in the doorway, looking equally miserable. "We really messed up, didn't we?" "You did. But more importantly, you learned something valuable about family. That it's not just about DNA," Emma ventured. "Exactly." I pulled out my physics textbook from college, kept specifically for helping with Emma's advanced science courses. "Now, want to talk about molecular motion?" Later that night, Laura found me grading papers in the office. "The kids seem different," she observed. "Amazing what a little natural consequence can teach." They asked me if you'd start making lunches again. I smiled. Did they learn anything from this? Besides that their stepdad is surprisingly strategic when making a point. She laughed. "I think they finally understand that love and care come in many forms, and rejecting someone's parental role means losing all the ways that person supports you." The next morning, I came downstairs to find both kids in the kitchen, attempting to make breakfast. We thought, maybe we could make breakfast for everyone. Ethan offered hesitantly. "Including non-biological parents?" I asked. "Especially them," Emma said quietly. "The ones who choose to love us, even when we're being terrible." I looked at the disaster they'd made of pancake batter and felt nothing but love for these complicated, learning, growing humans who'd become my family. "How about we make them together?" I suggested, since that's what real families do, biological or not. Their smiles were answer enough. Sometimes the hardest lessons lead to the strongest bonds, and sometimes it takes losing something to understand its true value. As we made breakfast together, I sent a silent thank you to their temporary rebellion. It had taught them, and reminded me, that family isn't about biology. It's about choice, commitment, and showing up every day, even when teenagers make you question every life decision that led to parenting. The next few weeks brought subtle but significant changes in our household dynamics. The twins started showing a new awareness of how family systems work, and how their actions affected everyone around them. One evening, I overheard Emma on the phone with her father, Michael. "Dad, I know it's your weekend, but Tom's helping me with my science fair project. Could we maybe switch to next weekend?" The casual way she prioritized our academic work together, without any prompting, spoke volumes about her shifting perspective. Even their mother noticed the change. "They actually asked me to thank you yesterday," Laura said one night, "for not giving up on them, even when they pushed you away." But the real test came during spring break. Michael had planned a week-long trip with the kids, but a work emergency forced him to cancel at the last minute. The twins were devastated. Mom has surgeries scheduled all week, Ethan said glumly at breakfast. I guess we're stuck at home. I looked up from my coffee. Or, we could do that camping trip we talked about last year. The one you both said it was too boring, because it didn't have Wi-Fi. Their faces lit up, then quickly turned uncertain. Would you still want to do that with us? Emma asked carefully. After how we acted. Family doesn't keep score, I replied. But it does learn and grow together. 2 days later, we were setting up camp in the White Mountains. I taught them how to pitch tents, start fires safely, and identify edible plants. More importantly, we talked, really talked, during those long evening hours without digital distractions. You know what I realized? Ethan said our second night, poking at the campfire with a stick. When we said you weren't our real dad, we were kind of saying we weren't a real family. And how do you feel about that now? I asked. Like we were really stupid, Emma chimed in. Because you've been more present then. She trailed off, not wanting to criticize her biological father. Different parents can offer different things, I said gently. Your dad loves you very much. So does your mom. And so do I. It's not a competition. But you choose to be here, Ethan said thoughtfully. Like, you could have walked away when we were being jerks. That's not how love works, bud. The conversation shifted to lighter topics, but I could see them processing this new understanding of family bonds. On our last night camping, we lay on a blanket watching the stars when Emma suddenly sat up. I need to tell you something. Okay. At school, when people ask, I've started just saying I have 3 parents. Not 2 parents and a stepdad. Is that okay? I felt my throat tighten. That's more than okay, Em. The drive home was different from our usual car rides. Instead of retreating into their phones, they stayed engaged, sharing observations and making plans for future outdoor adventures. Back home, Laura was waiting with news. Michael called. He wants to talk about adjusting the custody schedule to better accommodate everyone's activities. The 4 of us met with Michael at a local coffee shop that weekend. The twins listened intently as we adults discussed more flexible arrangements based on their growing interests and needs rather than rigid custody rules. Tom's physics help is really crucial for my AP prep, Emma pointed out when we discussed weekday schedules. And he's been helping me train for soccer, Ethan added. Maybe we could do Wednesday nights at Mom and Tom's, even on Dad's weeks. Michael looked at me with newfound respect. Seems like you've made quite an impact. They're great kids, I said simply. All they needed was time to understand that love can come from unexpected places. That evening, while I helped Emma with her physics homework and Ethan practiced soccer moves in the backyard, Laura wrapped her arms around me from behind. You know what the school counselor told me at conferences? She asked. The twins used to introduce you as my mom's husband. Now they both just say, my dad, Tom. They're learning, I said, watching through the window as Ethan practiced the drills we'd worked on together. We all are, she replied. Some lessons take time. Emma looked up from her textbook. Are you guys getting mushy about family stuff again? Always, I grinned. It's a parent thing. A real parent thing, she teased, referencing our past conflict. The realist, I confirmed, understanding that sometimes the strongest family bonds are the ones we choose to forge, strengthen, and maintain, biology notwithstanding. Looking at these kids, my kids, in all the ways that truly mattered, I realized that their temporary rejection had led to a deeper acceptance. Sometimes, you have to risk losing something to discover its true value, and sometimes the hardest lessons create the strongest foundations for growth. Hey, Tom, Ethan called from the backyard. Can you come check my form on that new kick we practiced? Be right there, bud. As I headed outside, Emma called after me, "Don't forget we're doing college prep research tomorrow." "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, knowing that every moment, the challenging and the joyful, was another brick in the foundation of our chosen family. And that, perhaps, was the most real thing of all. Summer arrived with its own set of revelations. The twins' 16th birthday approached, and for the first time, they were adamant about having one combined celebration instead of separate parties with each biological parent. "We want everyone together," Emma explained during family dinner. "All our parents, all our friends, no weird splitting up." Laura and I exchanged glances, knowing this would require careful navigation with Michael. But before we could respond, Ethan jumped in. "Dad already agreed," he said. "We talked to him last weekend." It struck me then how far we'd come, from "you're not our real dad" to the kids independently orchestrating family unity. The party planning revealed more shifts in our family dynamic. When Michael's new girlfriend asked if she should attend, the twins looked to me for guidance. "What do you think, Tom?" Emma asked. "You're good at handling complicated family stuff." I thought carefully before responding. "How about we ask your dad what makes him comfortable? New relationships affect everyone differently." They nodded, appreciating the balanced response. Later, Emma confided, "That's why we asked you about the hard stuff. You always help us see everyone's side." The birthday celebration itself became a testament to how far we all evolved. In our backyard, 3 sets of parents worked together while teenagers enjoyed the pool. Michael manned the grill, his girlfriend helped Laura with decorations, and I coordinated the activities. During the party, I overheard a conversation between the twins and their friends. "Must be weird, having your parents and step-parents all together," someone commented. "Not really," Ethan replied. "We just have more people who care about us." Emma added, "Yeah, like Tom's technically our stepdad, but he's the one who taught me to love science. Labels don't really matter." Later that evening, after guests left and we were cleaning up, Michael pulled me aside. "You know, when Laura first married you, I was worried about another man's influence on my kids," he admitted. "Now I realize how stupid that was. They didn't get another father, they got another person in their corner." "They've got room in their hearts for all of us," I replied. The conversation was interrupted by the twins announcing they wanted to open their special family-only gifts. Laura had gotten them both new laptops for schoolwork. Michael's gift was a pair of premium soccer cleats for Ethan and a telescope for Emma. When they opened my gift, leather-bound journals with their names embossed, they looked confused until they flipped them open. "These are all our conversations," Emma whispered, turning the pages. "Every meaningful talk we've had over the years," I explained. "The questions you've asked, the challenges we've faced, the victories we've celebrated. I've been keeping notes since day one. Even during the time we said you weren't our real dad," Ethan asked quietly. "Especially then, because that's what parents do. We hold space for all of it, the good and the hard stuff." The twins exchanged glances before disappearing upstairs. They returned with a clumsily wrapped package. "We were going to wait," Emma said, "but maybe now is better." Inside was a photo album. The first page read, "The evolution of our family, as told by 2 kids who finally get it." They'd collected photos from the past 6 years, candid shots of homework sessions, soccer games, science fairs, and camping trips. The final page held their school essays titled "What Family Means to Me." Both had written about the journey of understanding that family transcends biology. Emma's concluded with, "Sometimes the most real parent is the one who chooses to love you even when you're pushing them away." Ethan's ended with, "DNA doesn't make a dad. Showing up every day does." Michael read over my shoulder, his hand gripping my shoulder. "They got it right, didn't they?" "We all did, eventually," I replied. That night, after everyone had gone home, Laura found me in the office, reading through the essays again. "You know what the school counselor told me last week?" she asked. The twins were helping a new student who was struggling with her mom's remarriage. They told her that fighting a step-parent's love only hurts yourself. Passing on their hard-earned wisdom. "More like passing on your lessons," she smiled. "You played the long game with them, didn't you? Even when they rejected you." "Love is always the long game," I replied. "Sometimes we just have to be patient while others learn to accept it." The next morning, I found both journals on my desk with new entries added by the twins. Their messages were simple but profound. Emma wrote, "Thank you for teaching me that family is built on love, not labels." Ethan's note read, "Thanks for not giving up on us, Dad." Just Dad. No modifiers needed. Looking out my office window, I watched them shooting hoops in the driveway. These remarkable teenagers who taught me as much about family as I taught them. Their journey from rejection to acceptance had strengthened not just our bonds, but their understanding of what makes a family real. It was never about biology. It was about choice, commitment, and the courage to keep loving through the hard times. And sometimes, the most powerful parenting moments come not from enforcing authority, but from showing our children that love remains constant, even when they're not ready to accept it. As the twins' junior year began, our new family dynamic faced its biggest test. Michael received a job offer in Seattle, one that would mean moving across the country. The news hit like a bombshell during our monthly co-parenting dinner. "I haven't accepted yet," Michael explained. "I wanted to discuss it with everyone first." The twins sat in stunned silence, but I noticed they both instinctively moved closer to my end of the table, a subtle shift that spoke volumes about how far we'd come. "We can't leave," Emma finally said. "My AP Physics program, and Tom's helping me prep for science competitions. And I'm captain of the soccer team next season," Ethan added. "Tom's been training with me all summer." Michael looked at me, understanding flickering across his face. "You've really become their anchor, haven't you?" "We're all their anchors," I replied carefully, "just in different ways." Later that night, I found the twins in our home office, looking through their journals, the ones I'd given them for their birthday. "Can we talk?" Emma asked, her voice small. "Always." "If we choose to stay here with Mom and you, does that make us terrible kids?" Ethan blurted out. I sat down between them. "Having preferences about where you live doesn't diminish your love for any of your parents." "But Dad looked so sad," Emma whispered. "Because he loves you. But loving someone means wanting what's best for them, even when it's hard." The conversation with Michael the next day was difficult but necessary. The twins had decided to stay, but wanted to spend entire summers and longer holidays in Seattle. "I get it," Michael said, his voice rough. "They have roots here. School, friends." He paused, looking at me. "And a dad who's helped them flourish. They'll always need their father, Michael." "I know. But they need you too. Different kinds of love, right? That's what you taught them." The transition wasn't easy. The first time the twins flew to Seattle alone, we all felt the weight of change. But technology helped. Regular video calls, shared online calendars, and group chats kept everyone connected. One evening, during their summer visit to Seattle, I received separate texts from both twins. "Emma, Dad's girlfriend is really nice. She asked about my physics projects. I told her all about how you helped me discover my love for science." "Ethan, missing our soccer training sessions. Dad's trying to learn the drills you taught me. It's pretty funny, but nice, you know?" Their mother found me smiling at my phone. Good messages. Just our kids, learning to navigate love in all its forms. When they returned home, something had settled in them. A new confidence in their ability to hold multiple forms of family in their hearts. During our first family dinner back together, Emma made an announcement. "I'm adding a dedication page to my science fair project. To all three of my parents, who taught me that love, like energy, can neither be created nor destroyed. It just transforms. Ethan grinned. That's such a science nerd way to put it. But yeah, same. Looking around our table, at these teenagers who'd grown so much, at their mother who'd supported our journey, and thinking of their father across the country who'd learned to share their hearts, I realized we'd all been transformed by this journey. The twins' earlier rejection of my role had led to a deeper acceptance of family in all its complex forms. Their struggle to understand step-parenting had evolved into a mature appreciation for how love expands rather than divides. "Hey Tom," Ethan said, breaking into my thoughts. "Want to help me with college application essays tomorrow? I'm thinking of writing about family dynamics." "You know all about that," Emma teased. "Mister, you're not our real dad to Mr. I have 3 parents, and they're all real." "Sometimes the best stories come from our biggest mistakes," I replied, watching them both nod in understanding. "Because that's what family is, a story we write together, through mistakes and victories, through resistance and acceptance, through biology and choice. And sometimes the chapters we think might break us end up making us stronger than ever."